He in there, Mr. Finch?
He is, and he's asleep. Don't wake him up.
You know what we want. Get aside from the door, Mr. Finch.
Heck, Tate's around somewhere.
The hell he is.
Hey, Atticus.
Go home, Jim. Take Scout home. Go home, I said. Son, I said go home.
All right, Mr. Finch. Get him out of here. You got 15 seconds to get him out of here.
I ain't going.
Please, Jim, take her home.
Hey, Mr. Cunningham. How's your entailment getting along? Don't you remember me, Mr. Cunningham? I'm June Louise Finch. You brought us some hickory nuts one time, remember? I go to school with Walter. He's your boy, ain't he? Ain't he, sir? He's in my grade, and he does write well. He's a good boy. A real nice boy. We brought him home for dinner one time. Maybe he told you about me. I beat him up one time, but he was really nice about it. Tell him hey for me, won't you?
I'll tell him you said hey, little lady. Let's clear out. Let's get out of here, boys.
Were you acquainted with Myella Violet Ewell?
Yes, sir. I had to pass the place going to and from the field every day.
Tom, did she ever speak to you?
Why, yes, sir. I tip my hat when I go by. One day she asked me to come inside the fence and bust up a shiffer rope for her.
When did she ask you to chop up the shiffer rope?
Mr. Finch, it was way last spring.
Did you ever go on the place again?
Yes, sir.
When?
Well, I went lots of times.
Why did you go inside the fence lots of times?
She called me in, sir.
Were you paid for your services?
No, sir.
Where were the other children?
They was always around all over the place. They watched me work. Some of them I'd sit in the window.
Would Miss Myella talk to you?
Yes, sir, she talked to me.
Did you ever, at any time, go on the Ewell property? Did you ever set foot on the Ewell property without an express invitation from one of them?
No, sir, Mr. Finch, I never did. I wouldn't do that, sir.
Tom, what happened to you in the evening of November 21st of last year?
Mr. Finch, I was going home as usual that evening, and when I passed the Ewell place, Miss Mayella were on the porch like she said she were. It seemed real quiet like, and I didn't know quite why. I was studying why, just passing by, when she says for me to come there and help her a minute. Well, I went inside the fence and looked around for some kindling to work on, but I didn't see none, and she says, "Nah, I got something else for you to do in the house." The old door's off its hinges and falls coming on pretty fast. I said, "You got a screwdriver, Miss Mayella?" She said, "Sure had." Well, I had went up the steps, and she mentioned me to come inside, and I went in the front room and looked at the door. I said, "Miss Mayella, this door look all right." I pulled it back and forth, and those hinges was all right. Then she shut the door on my face, Mr. Finch. I was wondering why it was so quiet like, and it come to me that there wasn't a child on the place, not one of them. And I said, "Miss Mayella, where are the children?"
What did you say then, Tom?
I said something like, "Why, Miss Mayella? That's right smart of you to treat 'em."
I understand you, Tom. Go on.
Well, I said I'd best be going. I couldn't do nothing for her. And she says, "Oh, yes, I could." And I asked her what. And she says to just step on that chair yonder and get that box down from the top of the shiffer robe.
Not that same shiffer robe you busted up.
Nah, sir, another one. Most as tall as the room. So I done what she told me, and I was just reaching when the next thing I know, she grabbed me round the legs. Grabbed me right round the legs, Mr. Finch. She scared me so bad, I hopped down and turned the chair over. That was the only furniture disturbed in that room, Mr. Finch, when I left, I swear to God.
What happened after you turned the chair over? Tom, you're sworn to tell the whole truth. Will you tell it? What happened after that?
Mr. Finch, I got down off of that chair and turned around, and she sort of jumped on me.
Jumped on you? Violently?
No, sir. She She hugged me. She hugged me around the waist.
Then what did she do?
She reached up and kissed me side of the face. She said she never kissed a grown man before, and she might as well kiss a black man. She says what her papa do to her don't count. She says, kiss me back, black man. I say, Miss Mayella, let me out of here. And I tried to run, but she got her back to the door, and I had to push her. I didn't want to harm her, Mr. Finch. I say, let me pass. But just when I say it, Mr. Yule yonder hollered through the window.
Tom, did you rape Mayella L?
I did not, sir.
Did you harm her in any way?
I did not, sir.
Did you resist her advances?
Mr. Finch, I tried. I tried to without being ugly to her.
That'll do.
Hush a minute, Scout. Thought I heard something. Stop a minute. Hear anything?
No. You hear my costume rustling. Aw, it's just Halloween costume.
It's just old Cecil. He won't get us again. Let's don't let him think we're hurrying.
Cecil Jacobs is a big wet hen.
Scout, can you take that thing off?
I think so, but I ain't got anything on under it much.
I've got your dress here.
I can't get it on in the dark.
Okay, never mind.
Jem, are you afraid?
No,
You reckon we ought to sing, Jem?
no, be real quiet again, Scout. Run, Scout, run, run!
Jem, help me, Jem.
Miss Scout, see if you can tell us what happened while it's still fresh in your mind. You think you can? Did you see him following you?
We started home. Then Jim said hush a minute. I thought he was thinking, he always wants you to hush when he thinks. Then he said he heard something. We thought it was Cecil.
Cecil?
Cecil Jacobs. He scared us once tonight, and we thought it was him again. Oh, I yelled something at him.
You yelled what?
Cecil Jacobs is a big fat hen, I think. We didn't hear nothing, but Jim yelled hello or something, loud enough to wake the dead. Well, after Jim yelled, we walked on. Mr. Tate, I was shut up in my costume, but I could hear it for myself then. Footsteps, I mean. They walked when we walked, and stopped when we stopped. Anyway, Jim hollered, and I didn't hear him anymore, and the next thing, Mr. Yule was trying to squeeze me to death. I reckon then somebody yanked Mr. Yule down. Jim must have got up, I guess. That's all I know.
And then?
Somebody was staggering around, panting and coughing, fit to die.
Who was it?
Why, there he is, Mr. Tate. He can tell you his name. Hey, Boo.
Mr. Yule fell on his knife. Can you possibly understand?
Yes, sir, I understand. Mr. Tate was right.
What do you mean?
Well, it'd be sort of like shooting a mockingbird, wouldn't it?
Thank you for my children, Arthur.